For decades, the Philippines has lived with a critical vulnerability: the absence of a modern, integrated air defense system. While the archipelago faces constant tension in the South China Sea and has seen its Navy and Air Force slowly modernize, its skies have remained largely unprotected. In the wake of China's latest moves around Scarborough Shoal, questions about how Manila can defend its airspace are no longer theoretical. They strike at the heart of the nation's security, sovereignty, and its Horizon 3 modernization program. After the Cold War, the Philippine Air Force relied on outdated guns and a few man-portable air defense systems scattered among units. There were no long-range radars tied to interceptors, no surface-to-air missile batteries, and no integrated command and control framework. This void was not accidental. Limited defense budgets forced successive governments to prioritize internal security and counterinsurgency rather than external defense. For decades, the Philippines focused on ground operations against insurgent groups in Mindanao, leaving air and missile defense to fade into obscurity. The result was that by the 2000s, Manila had effectively no credible way to intercept hostile aircraft or missiles. The first meaningful step toward filling this void came in 2019, when the Philippines signed a contract worth around $240 million with Israel's Rafael Advanced Defense Systems to acquire the SPYDER air defense system. SPYDER, short for Surface-to-Air Python and Darby, deploys two missile types, the infrared-guided Python 5 and the radar-guided Darby, both adapted from proven air-to-air weapons. Depending on the variant, the system can cover ranges between 15 and 40 kilometers. Deliveries began in 2022 and continued through 2023, and the Philippine Air Force now operates SPYDER batteries as its first real surface-to-air missile capability. SPYDER represents a milestone. For the first time since World War II, the Philippines possesses a modern mobile air defense battery capable of defending key air bases in urban centers. Yet the limitations are obvious. The system's range is modest, coverage is narrow, and with only a handful of batteries, SPYDER cannot shield the entire archipelago. It is a point defense solution, not a national shield. For Manila, SPYDER is the first rung on a ladder it must climb quickly if it hopes to deter or withstand an adversary with the missile arsenal of China. That is why Horizon 3, the third phase of the Armed Forces of the Philippines modernization program, identifies integrated air and missile defense as a strategic priority. The Philippines has already deployed Israeli ELM-2288ER long-range radars, giving the Air Force the ability to detect aircraft and missiles at significant distances. But radar without shooters is like eyes without arms. It can see threats coming but cannot stop them. The next step is to field medium-range air defense systems capable of tying radar data to real interceptors. The two leading contenders for this role are the Norwegian-American NASAMS and Germany's IRIS-T SLM. The National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System, or NASAMS, was developed by Norway's Kongsberg and the United States' Raytheon. It fires AM-120 AMRAAM missiles, the same type carried by many fighter jets, and can engage targets at ranges of 25 to 40 kilometers, depending on the missile variant. NASAMS is widely used across NATO, has been exported to multiple countries, and is known for its modularity. It integrates easily with allied radar networks, including those already fielded by the Philippines. For Manila, NASAMS would mean interoperability with American forces under the Mutual Defense Treaty, logistical support from a large user base, and a relatively proven system. But it also comes with dependence on American supply chains and higher operational costs. Germany's IRIS-T SLM offers another path. This system adapts the IRIS-T air-to-air missile into a ground-launched interceptor with an extended range of about 40 kilometers. In Ukraine, IRIS-T SLM has earned a reputation for shooting down cruise missiles and drones with high success rates. Its seekers are advanced, and its ability to hit maneuvering targets makes it attractive in an era of UAV swarms and precision-guided weapons. For the Philippines, IRIS-T would represent cutting-edge technology and a chance to diversify away from American dependence. Yet the system is new, with a smaller logistical base, and Manila would face the challenge of being one of only a handful of operators worldwide. Other options exist but are less viable. The American Patriot system offers high altitude and long-range coverage, but its cost is far beyond what Manila can reasonably afford. Israel could expand its offer of SPYDER with medium-range modules, but relying solely on SPYDER would leave Manila with only point defenses, insufficient against saturation attacks. The most realistic scenario is that the Philippines maintains its SPYDER batteries for base defense while layering on a new system like NASAMS or IRIS-T to provide regional coverage. This would create the beginnings of a multi-layered air defense network. The strategic implications are profound. By acquiring SPYDER, Manila demonstrated that it is no longer willing to accept being defenseless in the air. By moving toward NASAMS or IRIS-T, it would take the next step toward deterrence. Air defense systems complicate an adversary's calculus. They raise the cost of coercion, making missile or airstrikes against Philippine bases far less attractive. They also reassure allies that Manila is investing in its own security, making joint defense commitments more credible. The choice between NASAMS and IRIS-T is not purely technical, it is geopolitical. Opting for NASAMS would reinforce Manila's alignment with the United States, deepening interoperability and supply chain integration. Choosing IRIS-T would signal closer ties to Europe and confidence in new generation systems tested in Ukraine. Either way, the decision will echo for decades as air defense systems shape training, doctrine, and alliance patterns. For the Philippines, the lesson is clear. SPYDER is a beginning, not an end. It plugs a gap, but it does not eliminate the country's vulnerability. The real challenge lies in building an integrated layered defense where short-range systems like SPYDER, medium-range systems like NASAMS or IRIS-T, and long-range sensors all combine into a credible shield. Without such a network, Scarborough Shoal and other contested features remain exposed because any crisis would quickly expose the Philippines' inability to defend its skies. The stakes go beyond military hardware. Scarborough Shoal's Nature Reserve designation shows how China uses lawfare and narratives to entrench control. Air defense systems answer in another language, the language of deterrence and resilience. They ensure that Manila's sovereignty is backed not just by words or protests, but by real capability. In this sense, air defense modernization is not optional. It is the foundation upon which all other elements of defense rest. As Horizon 3 unfolds, Filipinos must confront difficult choices. Do they accept limited defenses with SPYDER alone, or invest in NASAMS or IRIS-T to cover their skies more comprehensively? Do they prioritize alignment with the United States, or explore diversification with European technology? Do they aim for modest incremental steps, or make a leap toward a truly integrated system? These are not abstract questions. They are immediate, practical, and tied directly to the events playing out in the South China Sea. The shoals, reefs, and maritime zones contested daily are not just about the sea. They are about the ability of the Philippines to control its territory, defend its people, and ensure that its sovereignty is not gradually chipped away. Without credible air defenses, all other modernization efforts remain vulnerable. Ships in harbor, planes on the runway, even the grounded BRP Sierra Madre, all depend on the assurance that the skies overhead are not left wide open. The Philippines has begun the journey with SPYDER. The next steps will determine whether it remains a symbolic gesture or grows into a genuine shield. In the end, defending sovereignty requires more than courage or alliances. It requires the tools to turn warnings into protection. The skies of the Philippines deserve no less.